السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, today's subject is going to discuss Islam's views regarding the environment that we live in. There are many things we need to learn about Islam, my brothers. Many things that pertain to ourselves, our families, our communities, but there is also matters which we must learn that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained, and that is in interacting with the environment around us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا. That it is He, Allah, who has created for you everything in this earth. Everything that He's created, He created for our usage temporarily whilst we are here. That means the trees, the plants, the mountains, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything has a purpose for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created this for us out of His bounty, out of His mercy, out of His kindness. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create the moon, how would we see in the dark? If He did not create the stars, how would we know the travel? How to get from A to Z, to B and C? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create the seas and the rivers, there would be so much instability or instability in this universe. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His wisdom, created animals also, shrubs, plants, fruits, stones, mud, sand, every single thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created on this earth has a purpose. And the purpose is to serve the interest of mankind, humans, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created to worship Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also created all these things to worship Him and glorify Him also, as you will see from this khutbah. What is upon us is when we look at this creation, this environment in which Allah has placed us in, is to look upon this environment and reflect and ponder and think about how magnificent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, who created all of this and more. And then by that should draw us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our ibadah should improve and be better and more precise. Our closeness, our feeling to Allah should be much more better. But unfortunately, humans in general disregard the environment that they live in. They see it as a dustbin or as a toilet. They see it as something unimportant. They don't even take consideration to the matters of the creation of in the environment which directly benefit them. Like wheat, grain, fruits that grow. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my brothers, He says in the Quran, in Surah Hajj, do you not see that it is to Allah that everything prostrates? Everything in the heavens and everything in the earth prostrates? Do you not see that the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, the trees, the moving creatures, and even the people, all prostrate to Allah and worship Him? There's nothing except Allah has created it and it worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now if this is the foundation of our creation, of the environment we live in, does it not deserve our respect? Does the environment not deserve to be honored, taken care of, preserved? Today, we live in an environment, or today, people in this day and age are abusing what is around them. They abuse what they've been given from the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so much that it affects the environment in a negative way. In another verse in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and to Allah prostrates everything that is in the heavens and in the earth. All living creatures and angels, they worship Allah without having any arrogance or pride in them. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above all of them. Here Allah is mentioning the angels and He's also mentioning everything in the earth and everything in the skies, the heavens meaning the skies. All of it is prostrating and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are numerous verses in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you time and time again that He's created the heavens, the moon, the stars, the mountains, the trees, the rocks to worship Him. So today we want to understand the true value or status of these things in our environment which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for our benefit. And then we will be able to respect that, and then we will be able to give them their rights. My brothers in Islam, during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he moved to Medina, he mentioned to his companions that verily I know of a piece of stone in Mecca that used to greet me before I was even a messenger, before I was granted the prophethood. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim, and it shows that even stones that Allah created, not only they worship Him, but they respect the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to greet him regularly. In another hadith, a famous hadith when he arrived in Medina, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they made his masjid, they would use the trunk or the trunk of a palm tree where he would lean on and he would give the khutbah. And the trunk of this palm tree became so used to this and used to listen attentively and loved that the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was standing and leaning on it. And then when they made a pulpit and placed it somewhere else, then companions, they reported, we then heard the trunk moaning like a pregnant she-camel. And it would not stop moaning and moaning and moaning until the Prophet ﷺ came and placed his blessed hand over the tree trunk and then calmed it down. This shows you, my brothers, trees, they love Allah, they love the Messenger ﷺ. Even trees, stones, they greet the Nabi ﷺ. Abu Hurairah, he reported that once that the Messenger ﷺ, Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali, Az-Zubayr and Talha were climbing on Mount Uhud. And when they were climbing on Mount Uhud, the mountain began to shake. It began to quake, move. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had his staff. He struck the mountain and he said, "Be still, O Mount Uhud, for indeed upon you is a prophet, a Siddiq, and a martyr, a shaheed." He was referring to himself, Abu Bakr, and Umar ibn Khattab. Because Umar ibn Khattab, as we know, he died a martyr. And then the mountain stopped. What did we learn from this? We learned a number of things. From the things we learned is that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam could understand the mountain, could understand mountains, rocks, trees, animals. He knew that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala had created them for a reason. Everything was subservient to Allah. And they all respected Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he was able to speak to the mountain. And the mountain was able to understand. There's even a narration about Mount Uhud specifically, where the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that Uhud is a mountain which loves us and we love it. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Mount Uhud is a mountain that loves us and we love it. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he explained this hadith and said that Mount Uhud truly loves us. Mount Uhud truly loves us for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake alone. Allah has endowed this Mount Uhud with a quality whereby it's able to feel love. And this is why when we go to Medina, we travel to Umrah and Hajj, we go to visit Mount Uhud. And we climb up on Mount Uhud if we can. Also, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said in another authentic hadith that there is no Muslim who recites the talbiyah. You know, the talbiyah when he goes for Umrah and Hajj. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. There is no Muslim that recites that except that everything on his right and everything on his left, from rocks, from trees, from mud, and to the furthest regions on the east and the furthest regions of the west, except they say exactly like he says. So as we walk and making the talbiyah loud, we know that all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also saying this with us. Should we not respect trees just because of what I've just read out so far? Plants, mountains, stone. And then there is another narration with the sky itself and the earth itself weeps. The sky and the earth actually weeping. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when a believer dies and leaves the place where he used to pray and where he used to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the heavens, meaning the skies, and the earth, they begin to weep for him. As for the one who disobeys Allah, who disbelieves in Allah and disobeys Allah, then there's nothing in the skies or the earth that weeps for him. So this, my brothers, is a very important point to understand, that how much the creation, the environment we live in, actually loves us. That when we apart from it and we leave it and we die and move on, they weep. Do they not deserve our respect? Don't they deserve to be looked after and taken care of and honored? For this reason alone, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, therefore, blessed be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the worlds, who knows places where the leaves fall and the soil in which they grow, such that no leaf grows without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and no leaf falls without His knowledge. If the servant of Allah observes this large and various number of plants, as well as the fruits, and how the branches and trees are all glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they would perceive their beauty and contemplate on the creation in different ways. And they would realize that they were created for a very, very great purpose. The trees, the branches, the fruits, the soil, the leaves, everything was created for a very, very great purpose. Yet we abuse what is around us. We show it no regard, no respect. We just carry on as if it's there and that's it. My brothers, it's time for us to reflect on the creation around us. Stop, think, look, ponder over the creation of Allah, the hills, the mountains, the greenery, the soil, the ants, everything. And then you will see from there how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will place in your heart Iman and lift your Iman and make you closer towards Him. Now let's look at the very food that we eat. We eat food on a daily basis, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day, but we don't give it this regard. There is a hadith in Bukhari where the Prophet, in Tirmidhi, is in Bukhari, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, where Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said that when we were with the Prophet ﷺ and we were eating, we used to hear the food glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We used to hear food making tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it was eaten. When it was being picked up to eat, we could hear it. These are the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, about whom Allah said in the Quran, He said about them, وَالسَّابِقُونَ الْأَوَّلُونَ مِنَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ وَالَّذِينَ تَبَعُوهُم بِإِحْسَانٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ. Allah said He's pleased with them. They're not people who are liars and make up things. They said we used to hear the food making tasbih of Allah, glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it was being eaten. And when we eat our food, we throw it on the floor. When we eat food, we leave it on the table. When we eat food, we just don't think about how great the greatness inside it. We pollute the environment with food. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very, very careful in not harming the environment and not wasting what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him, given the whole creation. So much that once he passed by Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas and he saw him making wudu, but he was being excessive in using the water. So he said to Sa'd, do not waste this water. Sa'd ibn Waqqas said to him, is there even wastage in water? There's so much flowing, it's everywhere. Is there such thing as wastage in water? And the Prophet ﷺ replied to him, said, yes, even if you are at a flowing river, even if you've got so much water, don't waste it. It's abusing the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, in the hadith from Mu'adh ibn Jabal, beware of 3 acts that cause you to be cursed. One is relieving yourself in shaded places. Relieving yourself in shaded places where people normally sit down in the shade, you go relieve yourself over there. That's one. Second thing is a walkway. Don't relieve yourself in a walkway where people are walking up and down. And thirdly, a watering place where people go to water anything. Don't go in these places and relieve yourself. So be wary of these things, for you will earn the curse. It will cause you to earn the curse of the people. And when we talk about recycling, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the one who taught us recycling 1400 years ago. He used to amend and sew his own clothes to reuse them. He would mend his household goods as well. Everything he could he could mend and reuse, he would do. So it's something we should continue in doing. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم أما بعد. Another important aspect of our environment that we live in, which Allah has created for us, placed us in, are animals. Cats, dogs, horses, cows, lambs, sheep, whatever they may be. Ants, birds. All of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of them have been created and they worship Allah, they praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they deserve our respect because of this. They deserve our honor, respect them, and we should be kind and merciful to these animals. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created them and they worship Allah and they glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we get confirmation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself that He loves us to be merciful and kind to His animals that He's created. You know the hadith in Bukhari where a man was very thirsty, he was walking past and he came to a well. And he saw this well and he saw a dog outside the well, and the dog was licking the mud around the well, trying to get water from the mud because he couldn't go into the well. So he went down into the well, he filled his shoe with water, and then he came out, he gave it to the dog to drink. And when the dog had filled his thirst, quenched his thirst, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave him his sins. All because of giving water to a dog. And we know the opposite of that happened when a woman encaged a cat. She never let the cat go out to eat from the worms or find water from anywhere. She left it there until it died. And Allah caused her to enter into the hellfire because she encaged a cat and never let it out. There are many hadith like this. There's also even some a verse in the Quran and a hadith. One Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the hadith in Tirmidhi, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that in the nations before there was a prophet who was bitten by an ant, and so he ordered the whole colony of ants to be burnt, to be destroyed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him that you have destroyed a nation from my nations. Allah reprimanded the Prophet alayhi salam. He reprimanded him for this action. So we must take care of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created around us, and we should try to improve it by planting trees. There's big rewards for planting trees. If you plant a tree, there's a sadaqah for you in this life and the next. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever plants a tree in this life, a day palm tree in this life, Allah will plant one for him in Jannah. Why? Because when you plant a tree, the people will eat from its fruits. And the people not only eat from its fruits, but the birds and the animals will benefit from it as well. So this is something we must think about, my brothers. Our environment that we live in, we are responsible for this. And the only way we're going to really, truly feel responsible about the environment that we live in is if we respect it. And as Muslims, we respect it. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ respected it. We respect it. Why? Because we know all of the creation of Allah is worshipping Him, is glorifying Him. So it deserves our respect. It deserves to be taken care of and put in a high position. Now, if this is the case with the environment, my brothers, what about mankind, humans alone? Humans. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that whoever takes the soul of one human is like he's taking the soul of the whole of mankind. Whoever saves the life of one human is like he saves the life of the whole of mankind. We are at the top of that food chain. We're at the top of Allah's creation, the best of Allah's creation. So we must be extra careful not to harm one another, to respect one another, to show honor to one another, and love and brotherhood, and be merciful to each other, as well as being merciful to the creation. All of us in this room, inshallah, belong to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The Salaf, they used to say that Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are the most merciful to creation from amongst the creation. There's no people from amongst the creation that are more merciful to the creation than the people of Ahl Sunnah. And we claim to be people of Ahl Sunnah, but we should have more mercy to the environment, animals, the trees, the plants, and humans than anybody else. And that should be reflected in our speech, in our actions, in our dealings with one another. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ikhwani, to give us all the tawfiq to understand this environment which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed us in, and how we should be interacting and dealing with the various different parts of the environment around us. Brothers and sisters, before I pray, we close and pray, I want to just to remind you all, or if you don't already know, what is happening in Syria, in Idlib. It's really being crushed at the moment from the south by the regime, by Iran and Russia and Hezbollah. There's a huge attack going on there, and I'm talking millions, 3 million people in Idlib. And a good part of them will be fleeing from the south, where it's being bombed at the moment, to the north and over to the Turkish border. They are in serious need of your dua. Serious and big need of your dua. Wallahi, ikhwani, if we cannot raise our hands in the middle of the night, or even between adhan and iqamah, or in prayer, sujood or ruku, then how is it we are Muslims? When there's a huge, massive part of our ummah there that's suffering. They've suffered for 6-7 years. They've been driven out of every single city and town in Syria and forced to live now in Italy. All the Sunni Muslims that were contained in Syria, the vast 99% of all of them are all gathered now in this one region. They've pushed them in there. They've emptied them from everywhere else and pushed them there. And now they're attacking this city, and they want to overtake it and push them only on knows where. So we need your du'as. As we speak, there are many injured and many are fleeing, not knowing where to go and what to help. So your du'a is requested. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين وأقيم الصلاة.